I walk down these stairs. I leave notes. Like this note over here. And this note over here. I go to ask around. Apparently the meat shop was actually aware of the presence of someone looking like Mrs. Holmes in that. And I don't know the individuals who were around. Apparently I went to meet the police chief and other individuals who think they're like just some sort of jokery. The complaints that I have made, basically, or the complaints that I have written. Decisions have been made, and that's in 2018. I couldn't see the decisions. I just see the disappearance of individuals. This is the neighbor who have discrimination problem. I left the ICC letter, a copy of the ICC letter, on this wall over here, and it was picked up. And basically, there's some sort of like a psychopathic problem, which is called like it's like when you don't accept decisions of the authorities. This is usually punishable by jail, but we are in this country. Because of the oil company Shell, there's like a lot of discussion being made about the events of August 2018. And I think it's very much like huge problematics basically. And from what I gathered, they were caught up on this street near this space. They were basically caught up in this area. And I met the neighbor living at 7. At 11 in the morning, I was just coming back after welcoming 1997 to the country. And he was standing here with a lot of teeth, basically. And whom I suspect the most that are lying like as hell as well as possible, and that I would really like to kick their ass. Is the individuals 1989 and other people living in here. One of them I believe is from Cyprus basically. The other one from Spain basically, as I thought. And it is during the day of August 2018 when foreign females that I know have arrived in here. I went and I asked that people here. There was like someone with and they basically have sensed that I was somehow responsible for attacking the country, or that I was part of some sort of a paramilitary organization non-sanctioned by any state or something like that. Apparently there have been like some sort of tamperings with evidence. Still, this is the man who is in here who told me that my property is in that location on May 8th. And I think it's the individuals from sub-Saharan Africa who was basically able to steal my, who have basically seized my belongings, who arrived in May 2019, and that's during basically the holy month. During that period of time, because it was like all the neighborhood, they were basically like trying to cover up a crime. Somehow, I believe it was a situation of complex systems coming like from buildings around. From what I gathered is that someone in September 2017, a blonde, I don't know whom exactly is, probably the woman from Castle, just walked down this street and they were were heading up with all of their belongings, because on the first day of September 2017 or October 2017, I found basically like keys who were like dislocated, as well as bread or something like that. And apparently there's some sort of high level of discrimination and racism. On the meantime, they have been basically able to commit another sort of thefts of my property, or just gifts coming basically like from the judicial and the political entities in the country. So they were walking in the street, and are like basically like 4 buildings, and they were picked up from this location. Apparently, well, it's like securing the oil funds to come to this region has basically failed, and during the entire period of time I have not been informed in any instance about what has happened to my visitors. I've seen people like giving like strange looks. For example, putting out the video on the street, near the building. There's like a parking lot. There's like a building over there. There is like someone like which is like gray, and it's like I understand my responsibilities. It's like to facilitate the work for people in areas that they cannot access that easily. I did suspect that they have told their children to commit some sort of acts against me, because they were somehow fearful about my links to the occupied territories or the IDF. Those are like just superstitions, not even like rumors, but like just superstitions. It allowed them basically to steal from my post. It's like my postal number. They allowed me basically to steal from them, and then I still kept basically with somehow schizophrenic behavior in relation to everything that arrives to me basically. And they just put like some sort of like changing this situation. And there's like a number living at 1 who is also basically schizophrenic with some sort of a mental issue. I just keep mental issue because like when you reach to a point of assaulting like the presidents, prime ministers and monarchies, it's like you have some sort of a brain issue. And I believe because like it was during that period of time, they were like basically arriving upstairs. There's like the neighbor in here who is like an engineer in material science. Basically have told a lot of things and said things, and during August 2018 he said a lot of things. There are a lot of youth out there who basically are filled up with anger. They basically steal money and use it for cars, and they just basically change their license plate. Most of the cars that I've seen, not most of the cars, but like a portion like with which amount, basically like if I can quantify it, it's like basically like 5 to 10% of new cars. And basically it claims like with racist and discriminated individuals who are basically found in the localities. There have been some sort of election in October 2017 or in November 2017 about the mayor, which is like Belediye, which is like the first little circle. Then there's like the which is like the bigger circle. And yes, there has been like a lot of people traveling, a lot of people arriving. I think I've met like the head of state or something like that, who like a true man who was basically like willing to submit something. But yeah, apparently there has been like a lot of revengeful actions, a lot of things happening in here. There have been like foreign police officers during like the first period, September 2007, in the year 2017 and 2018. A lot of them had some sort of discrimination and sexual perversion issue. I have not been told to this day about any visitors. I just have seen like revengeful actions against me. And basically I think it was the UFX investigation who had led to the situation of today. And there's like some sort of like a lot of corruption which has led to this situation. I don't think that they are selling gold to our gold to Venezuela. The money didn't came from that location. I visited here. Then when I reached the location, I found some sort of racist person who has no knowledge about the situation, or he is under like coercion, who just said a lot of wrongful stuff. There's like the group of you, they told me like on August 2nd they picked up a woman from this location. And basically there's been like arrival of new police officers like in October 2018 or November 2018. Before that, yes, it was way worse. I remember August 2018, I'm inside of certain location, meeting of certain people. I've also met like some sort of a childish 1978, which basically amount to a crime, like, yes, because basically, to be honest with everyone, my family know nothing about my professional life, and if they have some sort of knowledge, they are committing some type of an act of terrorism and an act of war. I remember the entrance, I remember the work that I did in 2017. Up until 2016, there has been like a lot of individuals, and there has been like the World Cup, people were able to go there. There's like a lot of pressure that a lot of folks cannot like deal with. There have been like some sort of revengeful actions against me after coming basically like from Sweden, basically committed from people who have a lack of religious knowledge, and they were just basically like picking up women and selling them. When I tell you it's like a lot of people, things eased down a lot after like the arrival of my brother, and that I've written to the is like a lot of power. It's like willpower, political power, religious power, economical power, societal power, NASA, CERN, physics. It's like a lot of, how to say, conglomeration of people that reached basically like the point of August 2018. However, there are thieves in certain location who just pick up the money. I go and ask the police officers and other officers if they have something. Apparently, up until like the holy month of 2019, there have been like a lot of yes, people have had like some sort of a hobby of stealing my property and picking up my property which is under my name. I visited different locations, and I was basically dealing with people who have basically who have just one sort of objective of to steal things which are mine. They do not discuss anything with me. They either prefer to give it to playmaker to terrorists, or playmakers to state aggressions, or playmakers to rapes and other things to 1987. Basically, they're having like some sort of a group who think that they are somehow linked to the military or something like that. They've been like doing like a lot of acts and a lot of behavior and a lot of actions. Then there has been like the issue, and that comes from a certain family or like from just the building or the neighborhood. The situation is like where my brother got like his got like a house or like an apartment for him and his children, and they didn't ask about all the foreigners that I have arrived. They just particularly asked about my brother who have got some sort of a house or like an apartment, Well, apparently we fought with that. We fought for that. We thought that instead of well, not like legal compensation, but like some sort of a housing area. Then those who are the people who have somehow committed some sort of postal manipulation by stealing like diplomatic and political papers, which are basically directed to me. Well, that's my career. I basically explain it to the officers, and basically like everyone is astonished, and they have actually the complete right to do so. It's like yes, the amount of crimes and criminality is basically humongous. Like there's like just simple job, it's like this bottle. They put like a team with like 2 trucks or something like that. They just pick those bottles in here. They go into like yes. So there has been like a lot of buildings, and none of them is an industry. It's like when you go like to Hamburg or Frankfurt and you have like a sky view. There's like a residential area and like an industrial area. There's one small industrial area up to that location, and all of those is like buildings made like for socio-political analysis of things. And to me it's like money laundering, but to other people it means somehow something. And it's like there's some sort of individuals in here who have some sort of laziness, hot temperature, who think that people have, and they talk a lot, so who think that they have some sort of a large opening, and then they took them to the sub-Saharan or South African individuals in here, and basically it's like there's like no basis to work because of a lot of things. And I added up like this these things I work around, and basically if you had like some type of worker who come in here, they fail basically to speak with me. And there's like a hostel before this, there's like a hostel, there's like this place, and there's like a hostel behind it. I go there and I ask if there has some sort of an arrival of someone with my money or with other things. I've called these individuals. It's like complete silence from everyone, and it's basically they took us like the enemy of the state. At first I thought it's like this building is like a prison and there's like some sort of officer over there guarding the area, instead of vice versa. And this is the situation. So it's like a pocket like this. I know I'm too cautious about speaking about my private life, but this has been basically the matter. And there is like a collectivity of building over there. I go there to inquire and know about things. It's strange, there is like no location of like an industry to do things, or like recycling or something like that. So the fuel is basically like supposed to go to those industries, and people just stay inside those industries and work. But basically they buy cars, they use the fuel for that purpose, and not for the purpose of industrial growth or something like that. The money basically comes from jobs which involve the use of words. I won't say mouth, but words. And it's like there's like too much virtual reality. There's supposed like to be a bank, and this, an institution, a building, an industry, because like this type of recycling, an industry is somehow like to like maintenance of cars or something like that. There should be like some sort of an industry, but like it's some sort like of a collectivity of shops who do that. And like it's like not sort like of a collectivity controlled by someone or the state, which basically like involve like somehow like maintenance of cars, which is like in normal countries, like there's like a location for everyone to fix their cars, or like location or like a water treatment facility, which is over there. And none of this is normal because there's like too much residential building and basically a lack of industrial areas basically. And the industry is like people who, and if there's like industry, is like people who do some sort of paperwork. And I think that it's people who just like somehow is like do like a verification of what comes like from the telecommunication companies. And the other type of work is somehow is like doing like some sort of mathematical theories for CERN or something like that, instead of like doing like a tangible work. So but there's like a port, they bring cars from that port and they buy those cars, they fill it up with fuel. The work is and there's like no sort of industries, like they have villas, and then under those villas there are like some sort of shops, and those shops get their things from the ports and not from like mechanical workshop or something like that. I studied in the university that I studied, there's like a mechanical workshop where you can basically like do some sort of and those and the whole thing's like some sort of a mess. There's like no energy company in here. Basically I don't know where they get the grid from. There's some sort of this, and this is like a battery system that basically is like they collect basically the electricity and they just distribute it around. And there is like a lot of shops like this, and there is like no parks, and there is like basically they build things so that people don't invade them or something like that. I don't know, it's all of this is strange, and it can basically become stranger and stranger. It's like voilà, c'est une région de loisirs. Voilà, it's like a region when you go to vacation and to do like an industrial vacation. And I just go to individuals. There's supposed like to be some sort of a building where I can collect my documents. That building doesn't exist. And basically it's like, it's like when you get like some sort of a property, it's like when a retired football player comes around and everyone uses it to collect money, and it became some sort now it's like of a hostage situation. There has been like some sort of interest, there has been some sort of visitors, but it's like when you don't tell when you have visitors too, or visitors or people who come do not feel comfort or do not feel like they need to see their family or they need to see their acquaintances and their friends, well, they just leave. I don't know, I lived in an industrial town in Sweden. We usually do work or do theses or do like companies. I've been doing that for a long period of time. I've been like some sort of work, processes, things. I've seen everything. I've read about everything. However, there's some sort of a lack of everything, and just people is like trying like to some sort squeeze me and commit some sort of crimes in order to steal money, which is basically directed to me, or like investments toward basically reaching an end goal of basically like starting something. And all of this is illogical because the account of like for the money is like they just made a mistake. Is like they used the money as a purchase power. There is like no concepts of management or no concept of sustainability, and basically it's like with a lot of richness, they spend a lot of money unwisely, and there's like a lot of buildings who are just there.